everybody else in Photoshop because he knows Photoshop. It's not fair to you guys because most of you don't know Photoshop yet. He took the two single heads from different sources, brought them together into one single format in Photoshop, and played with transparency so that one image on top of another had before he ever started drawing. Then I assume you just took the did you project it with projector? I printed it. Printed it, and then how did you get it onto here? Just drew it?
Yeah. Traced it.
Traced it out. So he really solves his design problem in Photoshop, and I think that's a smart thing to do. I think there's a value problem, and I think it's the uncertainty of even her hair. I'm not sure how her hair ends up. So I think that it does look like he ran out of time. I think it has the potential to be a really nice piece, but I think we need to spend more time to resolve it. I want to say that I think that you draw really well here. I particularly think that Janet is great.
I'm not finished. I wasn't finished.
Huh?
I wasn't finished. I was.
Let
me say this. The reason I don't go dark, I don't want to smear because smudging is my. You know, I tone and.
You're afraid to go dark because you're afraid you're going to smudge it. You gotta get past that fear and make it darker. If you were going to continue, and I hope you finish this on your own.
Yes.
Tell me what's the first thing you would do. I'll tell you what I think is the first thing you should do.
First thing I would do. Well, after what you're saying, I guess bring some tone back into Michael, but
here's the problem. Michael had this disease that made him lighter.
Yeah.
So between when you put him next to Janet, Janet's darker and he's lighter.
I got you.
What I want to do is I want to define this side of his face here by making the whole shape darker.
Right.
But I can't do that because Michael wasn't dark complected. She was darker complected than he was.
Yeah.
So that means then that in order to make this a light shade, I need to go darker on her face before I ever put any of the detail in. And I'm reluctant to do that because I think the rendering, boy, that's beautifully done. It's really nicely done. I think you can have lots and lots of skill. It looks just like her, and I love the way that she's done the hair because it doesn't look like you just kind of scribbled and hoped something would happen. You were very meticulous in making those strokes. And
I was going to make the hair the hair was going to define Tryst. I was going to have it come together. Actually, the hair is making love to each other, and then we're going to bring it together. I mean, but it is. That's what I'm doing with it.
I think that everything that you have so far is really nice, and I think that you're very.
He said that's that Avatar-ish. Yeah.
I think that the two faces are the same value right now, and if they overlap, one's got to come forward and one's got to go back.
Right.
I think that the problem is
I'm gonna do it. I'm
light complexion.
gonna finish it like that.
Has to go darker.
Yes.
And I'm very reluctant to do that because between the two, she's the rendering that I like the most. So I would probably take the liberty to make Michael darker than he really is, because I don't want to go in and change her. So even as light complected as he was, when he was in a dark room and there wasn't a lot of light, he looked pretty dark. So I think that from this edge right here, this needs to go darker before you ever see detail. It's got to go darker. It's like part of him is in shadow, and the shadow is eating away part of that detail of his face. The minute that you take that line and make this all darker, so there's contrast between this light statement and this darker statement, then those two faces will separate really, really nicely.
Right.
I think that you can leave her unfinished. I wish that he had some resolution to the shirt that he was wearing down
I'm
here.
gonna put it in there.
Yeah, that's all you need. You don't need to show his shoulders. You just need to show a finished shape here for the collar of the shirt. And he used to wear shirts that were open down here pretty much. So I think that that's what it's going to look like. It's going to come down here and come back up.
Very good.
Okay, I want to see you finish it because I think there's a really, really nice start.
You got connections to them too, huh?
Huh?
You got connections to that family.
Not really. I've done some work with
Mm-hmm.
Jorge, you're a hard worker. If you could change anything, where's Jorge? If you could change anything, what would you change? Huh? I would just make it all dark and go over it so it doesn't even exist there. I don't know why it exists there. You've got all the space up here. I don't know why the Tryst didn't happen up there. if it doesn't happen to happen at the bottom, I would say that more often than not, the title happens in the bottom third of the poster. Not always. Sometimes it's at the top. It's a variable. It really depends on the design. In certain cases, it's clear up here. It looks like it took you some time to put that down. Where is Michonne? This is the kind of background that you need behind your girl. Simple like this, with not a lot of value changes. What I would change is Russell Crowe's beard. It's got to be darker. She looks pretty rich. The structure on her face looks pretty convincing. A nice soft edge that defines the side plane from the front plane on both the nose and the face itself. I think that looks pretty damn good. Did you paint white in there? Is the white of her eyes, is that paper left white, or did you actually paint white? Use what? Oh, white prism by pencil? Yeah, because it looks a little whiter than the rest of the paper. What I don't believe is I don't think that he has the darkness. You see how the dark in her eyes? He doesn't have the same darkness. His eyebrows aren't as dark as hers. His eyes, the top of his eyes, more pronounced on females because they use mascara to make their lashes longer, but on males too. The top lashes are longer than the bottom lashes, and because of that, the top line darker than the bottom part. And so I don't think that you've solved the eyebrow problem or the eyes, and I think that his beard should essentially be a dark shade. And right now, it's the same value as the background. So this looks finished to me. This looks finished. This all looks finished. This is the part that doesn't look finished.
For my daughter.
So,
both my daughters. Three of my daughters. I'm for your three daughters.
Put it down there. Is this the size of the reference material? The photograph the same size as that? So what I would do is I would overlay a piece of tracing paper on top of the photograph, and I would trace it again, trying to make Russell Crowe more structural. And then look at that tracing and integrate some of the same things that you did into this drawing here. This is nicely done. This is nicely done. This is nicely done. I think that, did you try to put white over the top of that? Yeah, you can't do it because the pencil is slick, and that white crystal color is wax, and you can't make it go over the top. So what I want to do is take that out, make his face darker and more convincing. It looks like his beard here just goes right into his neck. There's not a clear definition of where the beard ends and where his neck starts. So this is the area that I would really like to see you work, because the rest of it is really very nicely done. About how much time? If you were to guess me. Work off the garden, you spend 3.5 hours. This would have been twice as good as you would have spent 7 hours. Sometimes you have to spend 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours, it doesn't matter what it takes to make it really good. And it's pretty nice. It's not finished yet. What do you plan for this? Is she got a close down this reveal of the shoulders? What is this? For her arm stop? That's what the photograph stop?
Andre Ford right there. That's my boy.
Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, you know, New York Day?
I've been down here for fucking 15, 20 years. That's why it's my last 10 years of my addiction.
Why did it end like that? The other thing that bothers me is right down this corner here. I was running this. Nathan, live area, I probably wouldn't have gone any farther down. He worked up from there. And basically here and she was back here. I would have, actually, I might have brought that down to
That's my wheelchair.
I would have brought that down to you. So you didn't, you put your live area here, and I don't know why you didn't center your live area here so that didn't happen in the corner. Never. You always want to leave excess light on all sides. So they want to have they want to be able to use this different ways. On DVD boxes, small, on film posters, and newspaper ads, and they take the artwork that you do here when they cut it up in newspaper ads, they might just take part of her here, they may take part of him. So I would always leave lots of excess white on all sides. I would never work down to the hair. His hair here is a little unsure. And I think that, you see the darks in his eyes? Yeah. I think that you need to find a dark on the underside of his chin, and maybe in here, and in here. This, as the color comes together, it tends to make this part look dark. So you need some darks that are equal to this, and to this, somewhere down in this area, and even in his hair. So as his hair goes out of the side of his head, I think it's going to be light, and then as it turns, it might be darker, or vice versa. This all needs to be probably a little darker in this area here. So I think that if I was sitting, and the other thing is that I don't believe the way those two things meet. I think that there has to be a really clean edge where those lines stop and his hair begins. And right now they're kind of fused together, and so it doesn't look convincing. What I really like to see you do is to just get away from it for a while. You're all going to leave these here. You're not taking these home with you. My Photoshop class starts on the 2nd of January, so if you're in the Photoshop class, you can have them then, or you can have them when the new semester starts in the middle of February. I'll lock them up. If they're going to stay on the wall, I'm going to come in Monday, when nobody's here, and grade all of the work of this class. So I need these to stay. You're not taking them with you today. I'll give them back to you next semester. When I give this back to you, I'd like you to finish it. When you finish it, I'd like you to cut it out, and I'd like you to spray mount that piece right there well on the back side and mount it on a new piece of paper so that you have no borders and no haircut. Okay, I think that this is nicely done. This is really nicely done. I don't believe this yet. Doesn't look like you believe how it is. I think it's gonna continue past the edge. So when you come here and stop in order to hold this edge, it can't just be, it's not conclusive. It doesn't look like you believe how to finish that. It looks like you believed all of this, you believed all of this, but you didn't believe how to finish that. So you need to take those lines and have them come right to the edge and stop, very purposely stop, so that they create a sense of value. This value is going to be darker than the value of your shoulder. And I'm serious, I would find your sister or friend, somebody, that you can pull this side of the thing down and photograph. They have good reference material. And that will make this look convincing. Right now, it looks like she's an amputee, or it looks like she's a sculpture, and the arm got knocked off somehow. Understand? Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
Who did that?
At least a 9.
Who did that one?
Freddie. I'm serious. You would give it a 9?
At least.
Would you give it a 10?
I think the only thing I need to do is I want to feather this out or something because I feel like this just stops weird. That's what it is.
No, I think not feather it out. I think what you have to do is you have to make the rest of his shoulder and his arm believable.
Oh, that would
and
be
I think that it's got to be thicker in here.
Yeah.
It's like this, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel something right there is just off.
And I also think that there's a problem right there. And I think it's that light. I think it's that light shape right there. It makes her mouth look like she's. I don't know if she had surgery on her lip or she got Botoxed or something. I'm not sure what the hell it is.
She probably did.
She's a pretty woman.
She said the wrong thing.
She's a pretty woman, and I think that what's happening in this area right in here makes her not look pretty. When I cover that up, that really actually looks like her. I think it's a nice rendering in both cases. I think that you've defined the structure really nicely here. And this is what I mean for those people that even though I think that what Andy did here is really nice, it's single stroke for hair. And what he's seeing is clumps of hair. So this looks, I think that your sense about how to do hair, about seeing light shapes and holding those shapes against darker fields is exactly right. I wish that one of these light shapes would have just violated the color and gone all the way up so that you got the feeling that she didn't start here.
Okay.
You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like she starts right there and he ends right there. If that light shape that you have right there would have violated the collar and gone all the way up almost into his chin, it would have made her feel a little fuller and not like she was kind of cropped right there. I think it's a nice drawing. I probably would have taken that out. I think that because it's so skinny and because it's pushed over to this here, I would have rethought that. What I probably would have done is, and still, you can take this out. When you finish this drawing, I think you have a little work to do here and here. When you finish it, I would scan it in the computer, in the computer after you've got it scanned, I would set this typography, and I would probably set the rest of the credit. So that you deal with this whole column here as not being empty.
Yeah. Vertical Tryst, be a shoulder maybe.
What are you doing? You're going to Long Beach? You're going where? Next month?
No, not next semester. Next semester I'm going to be finishing my general ed and my pantry. And then by after next semester.
Well, it has not been, I think it has not yet, and I think there's a little bit of work still to go. Orlando.
Yes.
I was impressed with your understanding of perspective the first week and a half that we drew. I was curious to see whether or not your mechanical sensibilities would transfer over to your freehand ability. And I think that when you were doing this, the early tracing, and even when you first started on this, I think that you were really struggling. I think that you weren't sure how to do it. Have you drawn people before?
No.
So this was something new for you.
Yeah.
I think that your perseverance and your stick-to-itiveness. He was here, Dara was here, Tim was here, Roberto was here last night till 6:30, working with the light cable. I think that your perseverance and your willingness to work hard has really made a difference. I think that there's a little bit of work still to do, but she looks pretty convincing to me. I don't understand what's happening here. It looks, is there more hair that's going to come in here?
No.
What is this?
That's her hand and lifting her hair up a little bit.
Then what you need is you need a clear definition of her arm. And this
But
is
that's
one,
where it is.
this is one case where I would actually not make the pencil line the thickness of the pencil line, but I would make the thickness of the line like 1/8 of an inch, and it needs a line that goes around the top of her finger and stops here so that her hair will come forward and picks up again here and comes down out of the picture. I see her fingers here now, but this dark is what I responded to most. I didn't see that that was framing her arm. I just saw it as a dark shape, and I was thinking, I'm trying to think, is this hair? Is this hair? I couldn't figure out what that was. And it's because you haven't made this yet. You haven't put the darks in between her fingers to make that her fingers' inner hair look convincing yet. When you do, I think that this line is this to frame her arm?
Yeah.
What I would have done instead of making it thick like that, I would have said that maybe 1/4, but probably 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch uniform thickness all the way down to the bottom and come across, so that you got the feeling that it was all one element. And right now, this is one element, and this is another, and this is lost.
But that's the way her arm is curved out.
Her arm curves out like that, so draw that line in, and then make it 1/8 of an inch thick, and fill it in so that you feel like a uniform line comes up and defines all of that, all the way from up to the top. And that will finish her arm. Her arm's not finished yet. Otherwise, she looks pretty good. I think that for somebody who really was struggling, you did a pretty nice job. I think that you over-exaggerated her eyelashes. I probably would have made this a little thicker and not quite so many little variations there. But overall, I'm actually pretty pleased with that. He needs a little bit of work still. He's a rugged guy. You know, he's a very macho guy. So I would have played with angles more instead of roundness. I would have made all the angles a little bit more pronounced. And I think that you need to resolve this side of the face here. I'm not sure what this is.
This is her.
Really? Was that full?
Yeah.
Okay, well then draw the shape. Draw the shape so it's convincing, and you've got it, you're flattening it out on this edge. So I want to say that I need this face here. Okay. If this is the side of his head, and it comes down, and this is where your live area ends, and his hair is in here somewhere. If I just fill this in dark, it's going to look odd because of this flat edge right here. So what I need to do is I need to make some strokes in there so that this is a dark stroke, this is a dark stroke, and some light, some highlights come in so that it looks like there's some style in there. I would hate for that whole shape to be flat because it's not going to look like hair. You understand what I mean? So what I want to do is I want to come in and I want to make more pronounced the variations of what his hair looks like. And if that's all dark but it has an irregular edge, and every once in a while there's a light shape that comes in, all dark around it, but light, 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 it will give his hair more gesture, and it will look more convincing against that flat edge, because you do have this flat edge that you have to work against. This isn't finished. Finish this. if you don't have any more information, then is it a jacket that was around it?
No, you couldn't even tell. It ended like
Make it whatever you want then.
I gave him like a collar with a white tee on it.
Okay, we finished the color. There's no this is inconclusive. This is inconclusive. Draw the color. Draw the shape and then just fill it in. If I draw the collar down to here, and there's a little bit of a lapel, and it comes across, and the collar goes down here, and comes up and goes around, whatever it is, draw the shape, and just finish the shape. Just look on. It doesn't have to be rendered. You don't need to show any wrinkles in it. Just finish the shape. Right now, I don't believe that that's finished. This in here doesn't look finished to me. She looks very finished. So when they're all through, he's got to be to the same degree as finished as her. And this is the last thing. No, there's two more.
Over mine like that.
Just for a moment. Say what?
I wanted to tell something to everyone right now that happened in Connecticut. 26 people were killed in an elementary school. 18 of them were children.
What?
That's 2 people.
When did that happen? Right now?
At 9:30.
Oh, man.